BTS News Today. Behind the glittering world stage and the lights that never go out, hidden a story so tender, warm, and full of sincerity. This is a story about two people who grew up together in a harsh and demanding world, but still able to create a peaceful and safe space for each other. They are Taehyung and Jungkook, two names known to the world as members of BTS. But for many who follow their journey more closely, they are more than just groupmates. They are companions of souls, two hearts that understand each other even without a word, two figures who take care of each other, support, calm in the storm of life. Taehyung, better known as V, not only known for his distinctive baritone voice or face that is often referred to as perfect visuals. He is a person with a soft heart, high emotional sensitivity, and a sense of empathy that flows sincerely in each of his actions. On many occasions, it was clear how he was always by Jungkook's side, not just as a friend, but as a shelter, a refuge from the fatigue of the world, someone who made Jungkook feel that everything would be fine. And this is what makes their relationship so special. Jungkook, the magne who has grown from a shy teenage boy into a wonderful adult man, it often shows a strong and resilient side. But behind that, there was a soft side to her that only showed when she was with people she truly trusted. One of them, and perhaps the most important, is Taehyung. In his body language, in his little smile, and in his eyes when he saw Taehyung, it seems clear that Taehyung's presence provides an irreplaceable sense of security. There is peace in their relationship, which is not far-fetched, which flows so naturally. There are countless moments when Taehyung becomes the one who accompanies Jungkook through the pressure, fatigue, and self-doubt. One of the most heartfelt moments took place backstage, when Jungkook was seen holding back tears after a heavy performance. At that time, the camera had captured how Taehyung approached her secretly, not with dramatic highlights, but with a calm hug and a hand that gently touched Jungkook's shoulder. No long words. There is only presence. But for Jungkook, that's more than enough. Taehyung's presence in Jungkook's life is like an invisible protector who is always present when needed. In a stressful world, where their every move can be misinterpreted, where fatigue can turn into a heavy mental burden, having someone to lean on is an invaluable gift. And for Jungkook, Taehyung is a form of that comfort. He knew, in every heavy step he had to take, there is always someone who understands himself without having to explain everything. What makes their relationship so pure is not simply because of the closeness built over the years, but because of a deep respect for each other. Taehyung never treated Jungkook as a little brother who had to be forcibly led away. Instead, he makes room for Jungkook to grow in his own way, while staying ready when Jungkook needs support. Meanwhile, Jungkook never felt shy about showing Taehyung his fragile side. He knew that, in Taehyung's eyes, he didn't always have to be perfect. It just needs to be himself. When there are worries that cannot be shared with anyone, when the world becomes too noisy, when the load becomes too heavy, Jungkook knew that he could turn his head to the side and find Taehyung there. Sit quietly with him, share a laugh, or even just enjoy the silence together. Be a reminder that in this life there is still a safe place that cannot be replaced by anything. On Taehyung's side, Jungkook finds peace that can't be bought with fame or fortune. Instead, Taehyung gains strength from Jungkook's trust in him. This relationship is not a one-way relationship, but rather a mutually reinforcing symbiosis. There are times when Taehyung himself feels fragile, and in silence, Jungkook comes as a reminder that he is not alone. But what makes this story so touching is the fact that they never make these moments a highlight. They keep that intimacy sacred. It remains both of them. Their story is a reminder that in a world that often demands perfection, there is still room for warmth and sincerity. Taehyung isn't just a nickname that fans love. Taehyung is a symbol of relationships built with respect, love, and honesty. A relationship that is not formed by compulsion or expectation, but by a togetherness that grows over time. They remind us that what we need most in this life is not world recognition, but rather a warm hug from someone who truly understands our hearts. In numerous interviews and behind-the-scenes footage, the loyal army watches every move of BTS members. Of course, I'm used to seeing Jungkook's eyes always looking for Taehyung, not as a forced habit, rather as a natural instinct that arises from a deeply ingrained belief. Even when not talking much, when just sitting next to each other in silence, the world seems to know that there is a secret language between the two. A language that doesn't require long sentences, just an eye for an eye, or a light touch on the shoulder. They already understand each other. We often see Jungkook, who is so perfectionist. He is very hard on himself, especially in terms of work and appearance. He always wants the best for his fans. But such pressure sometimes forces a person to carry too heavy a load. And it is in such situations that Taehyung comes as a counterweight. He never forced Jungkook to tell his story. But he always knows when to come closer, when to make room, and when to slip a little joke that can melt Jungkook's moody mood. This sensitivity is what makes Taehyung such a valuable figure in Jungkook's life. One of the moments that fans will hardly forget is when they were touring the world and the schedule is so tight, fatigue began to appear on the faces of all the members, including Jungkook. Backstage, Jungkook sat with his head bowed, his hand held a bottle of water, but he didn't swallow it. His eyes looked blank, as if his thoughts were somewhere else. Taehyung came, not with questions, but with calm. He sat down beside Jungkook, then without speaking directly leaned his head on the magne's shoulder. In that quiet moment, the world seemed to slow down. Jungkook turned his head, smiled slightly, and finally took a sip of his drinking water. Perhaps not many are aware, but at the time, Taehyung had done something big. It revives the spirit that began to extinguish only with its existence. What makes it all the more moving is the way Taehyung respects Jungkook's boundaries. He never treated Jungkook as if he knew all the answers. It is not here to solve problems, but to accompany in silence is difficult. Taehyung understands that not all wounds can be healed immediately, but he was willing to sit beside the wound, wait together until time heals him. Jungkook knows he doesn't have to be perfect in front of Taehyung. He can cry, he can be angry, he can be silent, and all of that will be accepted with an open heart by his best friend. In their relationship, there was never dominance. Nothing is higher or more important. There is only complementarity, mutual respect, and mutual reinforcement. They don't try to be perfect for each other, but they try to be present sincerely. Even when you have to be far apart due to individual tasks or activities, they always show gentle support, good communication skill in English, or just with simple words on social media that are full of meaning for both of them. Taehyung not only protects Jungkook from outside pressure, but also from the guilt that sometimes arises in itself. We know that Jungkook often feels like he's not good enough, even though the world sees him as extraordinary. Taehyung is a reminder that he is loved not for his perfection, but because of his heart. He knows when to say, "You did your best," or "I'm proud of you," in a way that doesn't feel corny or artificial. Those words come from the heart, and they come to the heart. On one occasion, when Jungkook suffered a minor injury and felt frustrated because he could not perform optimally, Taehyung was the first to calm her down. Behind the scenes, he holds Jungkook's hand and whispers quietly, "It's okay. Army loves you not just because you look perfect. They love you because you are you." That sentence made Jungkook smile, a smile that was not forced, but the smile that comes from a heart that begins to feel at peace returns. This is Taehyung's strength. He heals with his presence and warm words. One of the most touching parts of their relationship is when they talk about each other in public.